What's up? This is Brian back with another video. Today we have the Audi on jack stands because we got ourselves a couple of things in the mail. Shout out to Amazon. And I will be going through my plans for the Audi's exhaust. As always, stock exhaust still chilling up there. And let's see what's in the box. Alright, so I got all the pieces out of the box. And if you can see, we have a resonator, a smaller resonator than, of course, the stock one. We have a little downturn, an extra coupler, and an electronic cutout. So you may be wondering why I have an electronic cutout. I'm glad you asked. So, on the stock car, we have the cat, first resonator, second resonator, muffler. Currently, I have it straight piped all the way to the muffler after the first first resonator. Well, we have two options, which looking under the car, I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to go with this option. But I'm going to replace the second resonator with this smaller resonator. Then I will put the cutout in line with the downturn, since the exhaust will be coming out at the bottom of the car. Don't want it to push straight back. Give it a little downturn, should help out. And of course, I still have my Flowmaster Super 8 clone, or Super 10 clone. Of course, Amazon was like half the price. I'm cheap, had to do it. But I think I'm gonna have to go with option A. I'm gonna start with, of course, gotta take the car exhaust off. Essentially, I can just take it off in one piece. I ghetto rigged it myself, but I made it so it's easy to remove. So I'll hop under the car and get that going.
Alright, so now I'm a little bit tucked in further. You can see that clamp, and then of course goes up to the muffler. So the stock resonator actually has these hangers in this section with these rubber grommets. One's over here too. This bolt actually for the hanger holds on this strap. But I took a piece of rod, put little nuts on the end to clamp it on here, and of course strapped on that, and that actually, it holds the exhaust and it gives it a little playroom. And I do plan on hopefully being able to reuse this on the new setup without too much issue, but of course time will tell how that will work. Alright, so went ahead and loosened this and got this back part supported, just holding up that first resonator. I still have to undo that, but as of now these are undone, as you can tell, and that one's out. So now literally if I remove this, the exhaust actually drops. I do have a flex piece back there to make sure that I don't have any issues with like it being held too tight or something. But I'm gonna go ahead and hop back there, take off that last one, and then I should be able to just slip this middle piece out.
Alright, so here's that center piece. That of course is my second resonator delete. I got the muffler. See my little flex piece in there. Alright, and of course we will be taking this piece. Shout out to my Cutout, still sitting here pretty. Of course we're going to use this to kind of mock out how we're going to have this setup going. Alright, So as you see, I've lined up the exhaust. This is roughly where it's going to begin. We got the resonator in, got a coupler, and then it goes to the split. Got that piece on, and of course, I was hoping it would be the perfect length to just disconnect this and connect this onto here. Unfortunately, as you can see, it's not. So probably what I will do is I'll just cut it here. We'll cut it probably right there and just use the second coupler and put it right there, and it should work, because of course, you know, I had to construct this myself. Don't have a welder, so it is what it is. But I'm gonna go ahead and transfer this brace over to this side, so of course this can be held up, and I'll go ahead and cut and attach this piece. I am a little worried about that spacing. I think it'll be fine. I'm not sure. It might end up just blowing on the bottom piece of this, but that's fine. I'll go ahead and swap this over and I'll check back in. Alright, so as you see, I have the whole structure finished. I did, of course, cut right here, attach that. I put this sleeve in here because this piping is slightly smaller than that, and I messed up some screws trying to get it to tighten enough around this collar. So I just decided to put in a spare piece that I had from a coupler and just kind of wedge it in here, and it is pretty tight, so I'm assuming it'll be fine. I'm sure I'll find out whether or not it will be fine sooner than later. I do of course have my hangers on here now, and this is roughly the same position as it was beforehand, so hopefully it does turn out pretty well for me. I guess the next step is to hop under the car and kind of put it in place and see how she fits. Alright, so I'm back slightly later. Of course, I got the new exhaust underneath the car, but I had to make a quick run to wonderful O'Reilly and AutoZone because I needed 2 new ones of these, the nice little exhaust clamps, because those fancy little nice prevent the leaks ones, I don't even know what brand name they were, but they decided that the actual screw is like half the size of this, so it stripped really quick. So when I went to tighten the new exhaust on, it literally just fell apart. So I had to go grab these 2. Luckily I have my Cutout, because obviously it can't take the Audi while it's on the jacks. So I had that, made that quick run. Now I'm gonna unpack these and quickly get them under there, and I should be able to tighten everything, and then wiring will be the only thing left. So I have the first section on, and of course that connects all the way to here, and I still got to put that last little section on the back on. But once I put that little back section on, it's officially finished, other than of course the wiring that I mentioned earlier. Alright, so I've got that last back piece on. Now it's officially mounted. As you can see, the downpipe kind of does work out pretty damn well. And if you look, here's that flex piece that I put in. Of course, that was to give it a little more flexibility. And here is the crazy bracket I made using the stock mounting holes. I stuck a bolt through here, put a little spacer in there. Same thing over on this side. I don't think you'll be able to tell very good, but right here the bracket is attached. And then I used a little leather hanger to attach it here to hold the muffler up. And that's how I got that situated. I'm gonna go ahead and grab the wire, plug it in there, and I will actually just test it to see if it works before I do the full wiring. Alright, so it's time to run the wires. I already plugged it in, made sure it worked. It does open, does close, so it's perfect. So this car doesn't actually fold back. The back seats don't flop down. So I actually run the wire underneath the seat here, and then it actually comes out over in that corner. Of course I have my sub in the way, but as you can see, the cable came out from over there. And then I do have this little hatch that of course everybody has, and right here is a little opening, and it has the little flaps that I guess equalize the pressure inside of the car. And those flaps, like you can see this cable I ran through there, and that's a good way to go from the cabin to the outside of your car without having any wires running through the bulkhead or anything. And being that the battery is in the back of this car, it's a good way to run the amp wires. So if you do decide to put an amp inside of an Audi A4, the cables, this is the power and the ground, run underneath, go to the battery, which is of course under this. But back to running this wire, and here we go. Ahead and took this little cover off, which reveals this. Not quite sure how much you can see, but it has a little grid. You shove it through there, and then you bring your hand straight up beside your exhaust, and you can just fumble for the cable and you'll find it right away. Alright, so we got everything on in here. Got the wire running. Oh, got it going all the way to here, and then of course up in that little hole, which brings it up through here, and then of course came out on this panel. I got everything back in place. For now, I actually have it just running over. I actually just have it running to right here, just because I don't have enough cigarette lighters, because my other cigarette lighter is actually for my dash cam. So that will be the spot for now. Of course, like I said, I already tested everything, made sure it worked. The next step is go ahead and get the car off of the jack stands, and then once the car is off the jack stands, I'll be able to do some sound clips, and we'll be able to see what it actually sounds like. Alright, so we're going to get a little sound clip. It's going to be a cold start because of course I haven't ran the car at all today. It's been sitting here while I worked on it. So it's going to be a cold start. Here's the remote. Currently the bypass is closed, so it's going to be in the quietest mode at first, and I'll come back and I'll actually open it. So I did take it out for a little drive. Doesn't have any rattles, not yet. Of course it does still sound kind of weird. I just gotta give some time so I can tighten all the clamps a little more, just to keep some of the blow by going in. But we'll go ahead and just crank it up for one more time, little time's sake, just to hear the difference. I think it's great. Let me stop this from beeping. Alright. So as you can tell, it's actually pretty quiet. And then once I hit the unlock, you can hear it. Like, listen to the difference. I'll go ahead and just set y'all up right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and close it again. So now it's quiet. open it. Back closed again. And open again. So overall, I think it was a great investment. I mean, there, like anything that I do, there's always caveats to it. I do have still that little, I don't know if you heard it on the video, if it'll come out, but it still has a little leaks everywhere. One day, of course, I plan on V-banding everything, welding it out. But of course, until that happens, it is what it is. But hey, at least now I have a electronic cutout. Even came with the nice little remote, so I'll always be able to change it, and I couldn't be more happy.